Three guys go golfing. At the first hole, a ghostly voice whispers, "Beware the water hazard." The first guy laughs and hits his ball straight into the water to tee the second hole. The voice warns, "Beware the sand trap." The second guy scoffs, swings, and his ball lands in the sand. Tee the third hole. The voice says, "Beware the," but before it finishes, the third guy shouts, "Yeah, I got it." He swings, and his club flies out of his hand and hits a beehive. Angry bees swarm him, and he dives into the water hazard to escape. The ghostly voice sighs, "I was going to say, beware the bees." A group of scientists wanted to understand why frogs jump, so they devised a series of experiments. They took a frog and commanded it, "Jump." The frog jumped. They wrote in their notebook, "A frog with all legs jumps when commanded." Then, they carefully removed one of the frog's legs and said, "Jump." The frog jumped, but not as far. They noted, "A frog with three legs jumps with reduced distance." They removed another leg and repeated the test. "Jump." The frog barely made a little hop. They wrote, "A frog with two legs can still jump, but poorly." They removed a third leg and said, "Jump." The frog wobbled, but managed a tiny push forward. Their notes read, "A frog with one leg jumps with extreme difficulty." Finally, they removed the last leg. They said, "Jump." The frog didn't move. They repeated louder, "Jump." The frog remained motionless. They shouted, "Jump." Nothing. The scientists huddled, reviewed their data, and concluded, a frog with no legs becomes deaf. A farmer and a lawyer get into a car accident at a rural intersection. Both vehicles are totaled, but miraculously, neither man is injured as they crawl out of their wrecked cars. The farmer dusts himself off and says, "Well, would you look at that? We're both fine. This must be a sign from above that we should be friends instead of fighting over this accident." The lawyer, always looking for an angle, thinks for a moment and nods. "You know what? You might be right." The farmer grins and says, "In fact, look at this. My truck wasn't completely destroyed. I happen to have a bottle of my finest homemade whiskey in the back. Let's celebrate this miracle and drink to our newfound friendship." The lawyer, now in a good mood, happily agrees. The farmer hands him the bottle, and the lawyer takes a few big gulps. Then he offers it back to the farmer. The farmer shakes his head and says, "Nah, I'll wait for the cops." A lawyer takes a vacation in a small fishing town to escape the stress of his big city job. Wanting to experience the local lifestyle, he approaches an old fisherman sitting by the dock. "Excuse me," the lawyer says. "I'm curious. What do you do all day?" The fisherman leans back. "Well, I wake up with the sunrise, take my boat out, catch a few fish, sell some at the market, and keep a few for dinner. Then I take a nap, spend time with my family, and in the evening, I play guitar with my friends. Life is good." The lawyer scoffs. "You know, with a little business sense, you could do so much more. If you worked longer hours, you could catch more fish, buy a bigger boat, hire a crew, and expand your business." "And then what?" the fisherman asks. "Well," the lawyer continues, "after a few years, you could open a seafood company, franchise it, and become rich. And then, after a few decades of hard work, you could retire to a small fishing town, take your boat out in the morning, catch a few fish, take a nap, spend time with your family, and play guitar with your friends." The fisherman smiles and says, "Isn't that what I'm already doing?" A husband and wife develop a secret code to talk about sex in front of their kids. The husband says, "Let's do the laundry tonight." The wife sighs, "I'm too tired for laundry." The husband pouts. The next morning, she wakes up early and says, "Hey, let's do some laundry now." The husband yawns. "Nah, it was a self-service night."